Things I don't like about Star Wars Part 3. If you haven't seen the other two videos, I'm a huge Star Wars fan who believes two things. Number one, you don't have to love every aspect of Star Wars to be a fan. And number two, you can discuss the things you don't like without being disrespectful. We've already done the originals and the prequels, now we're going to talk about the sequel trilogy. By far, the thing that bothered me the most about this trilogy was Leia zooming through space after she survived Kylo Ren's attack on her ship. It wasn't necessarily the fact that she survived. Like, was I emotionally prepared and ready for her to die in that scene? Yes, I thought that was what was going to happen. It doesn't bother me that she survived. She was strong in the Force needed her later. Whatever, that's all fine. What bothered me was how long she was out in space, how she wasn't sucked out and like you would keep going, right? You wouldn't just hang out kind of near the ship. I know it's Star Wars space physics, whatever. But mostly the zooming, the visual of the zoom into the ship. I did not buy it. It completely took me out of the we've never seen anything like that before. It just struck me as super weird and took me out of it for a little bit. Number two, I know I'm not alone in this, but somehow Palpatine returned. Now, it is explained later on. The Bad Batch comes out and goes all into the history of cloning and all the stuff that they were doing. Big picture, lore-wise, I have no problem with it now. But in the moment, it felt a little bit lame to go back to a villain from the original trilogy when you had just gone through all this stuff with the here and the now. And this is shallow, but a lot of it for me was just the line, like, somehow Palpatine returned. I feel like it was an incredible acting job to sell it so that it didn't sound like a weak idea. Let me give you an example of a similar thing that was done awesomely. The thing about the Force and how they were transferring the lightsabers and objects through the Force, that was a thread that they were following throughout the second and third movies of the trilogy. First, Rey and Kylo were just seeing each other, then it was rainwater, then it was the necklace, and then finally it went to the lightsaber and it was on purpose. If that idea of Palpatine returning had been like a linear idea, like a thread through the first two movies, it wouldn't have hit so abruptly and weirdly. And that kind of leads me directly into point number three, which is this trilogy just kind of felt fragmented. I think the move from one director to another director and then back to the first director didn't do everything as well as it was supposed to for the trilogy. The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi kind of have two different feels, and then The Rise of Skywalker has to wrap it all up in a nice bow somehow, and it just felt like there's a little tension of ideas there. It's hard to describe as I sit here, but do you know what I'm saying? What do you think of the sequel trilogy? Let me know in the comments, but be respectful. And as always, follow for more Star Wars stuff.